Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. This is another edition of New York by Night, the Empire, and sometimes even Anarchy. We find ourselves tonight in the bunker again. It's cold, it's wet, but I'm not scared. I'm just here to wait out the war and plan for the battles ahead. However, I'm not the only one here. Several people here, and at the moment, I personally um, hang around the special area that has been set up for the people of. We're a member of the unit, a coterie created purely to wage havoc and war on the spots outside who are trying to rule our beautiful city. And this is where we begin.
Yeah, he'll be joined by another member of that said coterie for War and Mayhem, Alec, who's kind of just sitting down on one of the chairs, cigarette in hand, and he just has a very grim look about his face, as been trying this meditation thing, but it just doesn't seem to click with him, and he just sort of sits there with this grim kind of stare on his face, just ready for the next mission, ready to go out whenever they need him.
Yes, as Lucius notices him, he stretches out his jacket as to prepare himself for a talk. Talk which he knows he must do, knows he might not like. He is already trying to figure out how he's going to go about this. As he just says, Alec, mind if I join you? I need to talk to you.
Yeah, pull up a chair, Lucius, no problem. As he gives a kind of a small smile.
Something has caught my ear. I was wondering if this is true before I continue. I have heard that you have made a request of the regent, of my regent, I should say, to, to learn under her tutelage, so she could become your mentor in this current situation.
Yes, I thought she would be most adequate to my skills, and she's fantastic tutor, fantastic.
Yes. On her behalf and on my own behalf, which I will explain in a moment, um, I I need to talk to you about your current stance within the bunker when it comes to a known caitiff or a maid cleanse. I'm referring to the person we both know as Selena Whitaker.
He kind of takes a breath and kind of runs his hand through his beard. I had a feeling this was coming, so. And you've always been honest with me, Lucius, so, lay it out straight with me.
Right. Firstly, I think, just between us, that capability outweighs any sort of social ranking. If you can handle a sword, if you can jam it in somebody's chest and our enemy dies, that's a plus. If you know how to do a courtesy, I consider it to be pretty useless. However, within the society we live in, we dance our dance of death with the enemy, and we dance our dance of life with our elders. My elder has requested me to talk to you about your infatuation, your relationship, if you might call it, with Miss Whitaker, because it has a grand chance of affecting your standing in this city and in this war. Now, before I continue, is there something you would like to maybe adjust in my statement? if
No,
I'm not right in how things are.
no, the relationship between Cena and I, you are correct. It will cause problems, and to be perfectly honest, I am not sure what to do. You know, he kind of spreads his hands very evenly.
You see, I believe that the region for you as well as I is exactly what we need. She's a very strict woman who knows what's best for people such as I. We are warriors. We are not the social kind. We will never appreciate a good courtesy, and most of all, we will be cold when shit hits the fan.
You are correct.
But are you willing to not only lay down your blood in our fight, but also lay down your pride in this social battle? Will you distance yourself from her? And if you don't, if you still doubt it, then I might have a proposition which will undoubtedly prove that I am right. Still, if we can avoid this, that will be most fortunate.
What is your proposition, first of all? Let's get all cards out on table. That seems like
But
best strategy.
I think, as from what I've seen from Miss Whitaker, she is a very crafty, witty woman. She knows very much what she wants, and she will do mostly anything to get it. In my world, that would be called a spoiled brat. However, she is very good about it. She knows how to use her assets. She's very pretty, and she comes from good stock. However, she has now fallen. Her throne has been shattered by the coming of Marie Antoinette, and her misplaced pride upon punishment for set deeds done by our culture, by our society, and therefore by our Justica. The question remains, has she learned her lesson? Now, I believe she has not. I believe she will still continue to use other people to advance herself, thereby, I would say, risk lives, risk social station of others to gain her own momentum, to gain her own position. At this moment, aiming for a position back in the court. Not necessarily Marie Antoinette's court, but not necessarily a seat at the table of the talking neonates once again, instead of sitting in the sidelines being clandestine as she is right now. Therefore, to prove that, I will have to ask permission for this because it's not one of my most favorite things. I think there are people in this bunker, including myself, that could, with a bit of flair, how do you say, tact, win her over as to her proclaiming her allegiance to a new person that advance a position greater and better than herself, therefore showing that she is not all about um, love and care for you, but mostly about, well, advancing herself in very,
So,
how
so
would
it
you
is
say?
a trap then. I'm assuming
Yes, it's
you
a trap, yes.
you thinks long and hard about this. If such a thing were to happen, this stays between us, da.
Well, the problem is, if it happens, it'll probably happen rather publicly because people will notice. Also, I assume you will need proof of this happening or this action have happened. The problem is, I'd rather not um, endanger my station in order to prove a point. After all, I hope that at the end of the war, I might increase my status to Ancile and even have a possibility of growing a rank within the Tremere pyramid itself.
Hmm.
So if I do this, yes, I will be at a greater risk, and yes, I would have to ask permission from the region as to it not damaging my social station.
Of course.
I rather avoid this all and make sure that you distance yourself from her because I consider her to be poison for your current position within the city, mainly because I believe her pride is is very much in the way of her growing as a person, which will suffocate her later when confronted by said consequences.
Hmm.
Also, I don't like lying in that way, although I do consider it an act of coup de rouge, as they say, a an act of war used by the French in order to deliberately get into enemy territory with a lie.
Alec just takes a long drag of a cigarette and just. You do know she has it in for Spillane, don't you? I mean, it's obvious. She
You
probably
mean
has it.
has it in? What do you mean exactly?
From my, from my understanding, she hasn't told me much, but it seems. Would you let someone away with that? What he technically caused? I
Well,
mean,
I do know three extra things. I'm not sure if you do. You
hmm,
do know that she had um, a connection with multiple people beforehand first.
she did.
Yeah, Mrs. Spillane might be one of the first, but I do believe she does use her flattery to gain more station and position.
She has mentioned that before, but she said it's purely business. We have our tools of war. She has her bag of tricks. It's that sort of thing.
Right. So what are you? A tool? A means to an end? Just another notch in her toolbox? On her tools? On her equipment? Just to show, oh, look, this, well, in your case, gangrel war machine is dancing at my disposal because he likes my equipment.
I am no one's tool. Kind of growls.
Right. So you trust her. That's what you're saying.
So far, she has not let me down, but her stubbornness to say these things, which will, as you saw, result. I just don't know. He kind of rubs his face again. She's too reckless with
Yeah.
herself.
And she will endanger you. Because I know you're a passionate man. I've said this before. I know that when something happens, when you are not detached yet, damage will be done. And there's nothing I can do. That's why I come to you plainly, as honestly as I can, in my own name as a friend, maybe as your commanding officer, but mostly because one of my elders told me that this is a chance for you to mend your situation. If something wrong happens, people will ask what has happened to make sure that everything went okay. Then I said, well, I asked him, but he refused. He didn't take the chance to have his eyes open to the truth.
Ah, yes. And I am child of Primogen now. I have responsibilities.
Exactly. People will watch you. That's why I believe the regent has made it so very clear that it's important that your station is intact and maybe improving. You cannot grow or improve with Miss Whitaker as a block holding you back.
The You're right. I think me trying to grasp on a vestige of this to remember something that I once had, and humanity-wise, is what's tying me down from it. You know?
I don't. I have less trouble with that. Like it's a program run, a an action completed as a mission. I choose not to feel remorse because it doesn't increase my capabilities, it decreases them. But it does not mean that I will not have my detachment, that I do not look into the mirror and see my skin has paled and my eyes have sunken deeper into my skull, purely because of the things I have seen, not necessarily because they affect me mentally, but people will see what I have seen without me knowing this. People looked weird at me when I entered the Starbucks. Remember?
Da, yes.
That has never happened to me before. But since I haven't been about for much upstairs, I hadn't noticed that this is the normal response I get. War changes people, but it also teaches harsh lessons. I want your lesson to be something you can grow with, not something that will hold you back or suffocate you again. The lesson the region will teach you is sometimes you just have to make sacrifices in order to have growth instead of
It's hard, Lucius, you know? He kind of tugs at that wedding ring on his finger. It's hard to take away that from yourself. She reminds me of a time when this was all not real, you know? But I just don't. I'm not good at this, you know? I'm not good at these things. I don't know how to crack the girl, you know? If what you're saying is true, for me, I would like you to test her. So I know when I walk away, I do not look back and temptation is not there. I
then
will distance, but I want to see a test. Loyalty is a big thing to me, as you know this.
tell me
And if she,
what do you find an adequate breaking of what do you find an adequate breach of the trust you have? Because if she comes to you, she'll probably say, "Well, this is only a test for me to make sure that Lucius does what I want." And well, maybe you've drunk her blood. Maybe you have that unnatural feel of comfort and pleasure just talking and being around someone. To
I have
break
not.
that, you need proof, but lies, sometimes aided without blood connection, are very difficult to ignore.
I have not drunk her blood. I have not done that. That is something that I would not do unless she wanted that, and I wanted that, and I don't. If you can get her to, you know, come to you, if you can get her to say she's yours, and when I am mentioned, what is her reaction? When you tell her to, I need to be eliminated from picture.
I will not infatuate myself in saying that I would murder a clanmate or a
Not
coach.
not not murder. No, that I need to be publicly brought down. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You mean that you're publicly, how would you say, insulted
Da,
by her choosing me over you in some sort of social event.
that
You want
is
her to admit that she would choose me instead of you on such an occasion.
exactly in front of the entire place. But
You want her to admit that in a private situation, or you want that to be a social action, a true action, not just words. Because if it's
a
true
true
action, then I might get into trouble. First of all, I've then scorned um, my elders by connecting myself with a caitiff, which might make me lose my clan prestige, which I'm very proud of. And second of all, if I do this, no other person would truly trust me for a while.
Mhm.
When leading them into combat, that might be extremely dangerous. What I
True.
can do is I can record for you the words she speaks to me. I can record me um, making advances and her biting or not biting. I can even have her and me decide in a way that she wants to be with me in a way instead of you, all recorded on a phone or a recording device of your choosing. Something you might even only have the password of, so I cannot tamper with it. That means that if something happens, your break off would be less of a drama situation. And
Exactly.
the connection I had with um, Selena could then be quickly forgotten. Something I can deny later that you and me only know the truth. And the region, of course, I will have to talk to her and say that I'm going to do this.
I understand. That would be preferable. Less drama. There has been too much of this. This should be done quietly and quickly.
Yes,
If
I agree. So we can both hold our heads up high and prove the lies to be nothing but selfish demeanor. And if I am wrong, I will admit that I was wrong. And then I will leave you a harder choice to distance or not. The choices will be choices. And I
I
want
would
to
ra-
give you the broadest amount of choice.
I would rather know everything before I make a choice. I think that is the best situation for all of this, Lucius.
I agree. Then it's agreement. And Lucius outstretches a hand as to make agreement.
I like clasp it quite firmly. Thank you, Lucius. With actually a smile. I respect your honesty about these things.
It's not my strength, all these clapping about social crap, but I do like to have my battle brothers trust me when we jump into combat. Therefore, lies between brothers is like poison in a wound. It will not ever completely heal.
You are correct. He'll just nod very firmly. About what happened the other day is I'm assuming the Hayden is not in our team. I don't trust recklessness.
I think Hayden is a little bit too young to be out in the field.
The
I do like the fact that he had the possibility to get those pictures about, but I believe that your gangrel friend might need to link up with Nosferatu, stay down in the bunker a little bit longer, and have his connections with the outside world through electric wires and computer screens.
the I might suggest you go talk to Theodore and see what comes of it, but we can still use him, just
Oh,
not
yes,
an official member.
exactly. He might be useful. I do not deny working with him as I would with a caitiff who is not already in our plan, because that's something else that I have not discussed yet. We do have one known caitiff within our coterie. However, I do not feel like we can cast her out because she has proven useful and she's bled with us in battle.
She
Also,
has.
she is useful. Therefore, I still deem capability higher than blood. But she is a danger to everyone who is clad. Don't get me wrong, it's not a personal thing. Whenever you say that caitiffs have value within our society, it devaluizes your own because we value our strength through the blood, through the unification of those blood powers we know as disciplines. They have no unification, they have no clan, therefore they are less within our society. And
Hmm.
some may grow to be better and stronger, and even outgrow elders and ourselves. But until that time, he or she will remain clanless, but that is how she is.
So what do we do about Kate? She has been loyal soldier. I don't think we should kick
She
her
will
down for that.
remain in the unit because I believe she has earned her place in her capabilities. However, I will try to avoid her in social contacts wherever we are in public, for this is a request that has been made, and I will obey this request.
That is reasonable. Scott might be in a bit of trouble, but I think his loud mouth will be corrected. I think
Why is Scott in trouble? What have you heard?
the regent asked me what did I think of him, and after all, she summoned Gwen and Scott to her quarters. So I think Scott might be getting a bit of brunt about this talking to about Maria. It might be a bit of situation. Scott is good man. He's just loud. That is his problem.
Yes, I also believe that Scott might have problems doing what he does because he's a Ventru. And I've noticed recently that the Ventru in this city aren't really acting as I know Ventru act. Most Ventru I know are a very strong, knit group who go for the strength of Camarilla and will firmly say and state their affection towards Toreador, Tremere, and they will publicly say they dislike such things as Nosferatu or Malkavian or even Gengraf. But the group we have right now is is very infatuated with caitiffs, talking openly and brotherly about fighting the Sabbat. Now this is good. It's interesting. The problem is, I understand that elders might not feel the same way. I haven't
The,
seen a Venture Elder here in a while, but I know that whenever an Venture Elder would step into this group, we might lose Scott and or Gwen, maybe even Spillane, because they are too open with their friendliness. Something we should all, in a way, worry about.
that is a
After all, they
shame.
are Venture, and
Yes,
whenever an Elder comes, it's the same as with the Tremere as it is with the Toreador. You either fall in line or they break you and you drop in line.
the, that is a shame. Scott is good man, good warrior.
Scott's a
But
good warrior. He's passionate, but he has a
mm,
very runny mouth. He likes to talk shit, which is good, especially in battle. I'd love to see him in battle if he starts to bullshit with Emily and have her frenzy just for the sake of running a sword through her. However, he should know when to shut up, especially around elders. It's just safer that way.
the, if we can maybe teach him when to use mouth in certain situations, that might save his life in the long run. After all, He is our brother in arms, and he is ventral. You know.
I know. That's why I might talk to him and ask him if he, like you, would like to consider the regent as a mentor. She has those skills to tell you when and how to shut up, making sure that things are right, and to stay away from dangerous things like caitiffs who might danger your social position.
That could be good. I think that would be best. We need all the help we can get with Scott, and a hand in the ventral is a handy thing to have. You know, if we can correct it before an elder comes, could
That's
be a
true.
handy thing for us.
Yes. They also might be able to get a friendly boon out of such situations, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
That could be good.
We will see what
So
we can do.
I could nod and stand up, and gives Lucius another handshake. I thank you, Lucius, for accepting me into Coterie and letting me test and fight. He just nods, almost smiling.
No problem.
And
This is
he'll
part of
nod
my job.
he'll nod grimly and just, I'll go out and do rounds and all that. And he'll walk kind of just, a bit not hunched over, just a bit straighter and just, finishing off a cigarette, and he'll head out then.
Lucius stays at the table, looks around a little bit, trying to figure out how he's going to play this game. He's not very good at this social stuff, but for the greater good, to make sure that the unit stays together, he will have to do this. And he just nods to himself, then gets off the table and goes straight to the office of the regent to explain her his plan and hopefully convince Alec to poison that is the Whitaker woman. And with that, I'd like to end the scene.